Today, we are going to chat about a really interesting example of a time that a guy actually made up a religion.
Made up a religion, but did not make up the religious experiences that happened. So you want to make sure you stay tuned and hear this example because it is salacious and juicy and informative.
We've had some really cool access to some really cool people, and we want to share it with you.
We have an amazing interview series of some of the interviews we've done with celebrities like Dr. Deborah Tillman, America's Super Nanny, Dr. Joseph McClendon III, famous neuropsychologist, former professor of UCLA. We've got Dr. Bruce Lipton, author of Beyond Belief, and we even have John Maxwell, the #1 leadership expert.
Your sisters want to bring you into the room with our most exclusive access. So go to kandshy.com. Right there on the homepage, you will see a button that says Get My Celebrity Interview Series, and we would love to share our access with you.
KAYANDSHI.com. We'll see you over there.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
Okay, today we're talking about a 2011 documentary made by an Indian-American filmmaker. His name is Vikram Gandhi, and the documentary is called Kumare, and he went out to answer the question, could people find the same peace from a made-up religion that they found from a real one?
Peace as in P-E-A-C-E, not peace like give me a piece of that cake, but that internal peace that so many religious institutions and religions seek to find. So what he did was pose as a guru. He made himself up as a guru from a fictional village in India and wanted to see if he could develop a following to his made up philosophy. Now, the whole project started as kind of a funny social experiment, but what transpired was really interesting.
Well, turns out people genuinely believed him, enough so that it actually ended up calling the documentary into some controversy because his followers really did believe that he was genuine. And it was very interesting how folks actually started to follow his principles, but then they saw some positive changes in their life as a result of this made-up religion.
That's what I think is so funny, right? Is because of that belief and their dedication to following the doctrine and the belief resulted in positive changes for them, resulted in transformed spiritual fulfillment and happiness. So there was real results, real spiritual growth, even though the leader and the guys behind it was all a ruse.
So I think there's a lot that we can take from this. You know, we talked about in Monday's episode a little bit of the history of religion, how we really saw early humans being very much focused on how do we answer the very strange world that we're around. And then we see this big rise of violence and giant wars. And now morality starts to come into the religious question. But one of the things that religion can bring forward for us is that structure of action. And if you've been with us long enough to know, you know that action is the cure to a lot of things, to overwhelm, to fear, to maybe that to stagnation. Action can cure a lot of the difficult things that you're facing. And when you start to bring religious doctrine into any kind of spiritual setting, you give people actions that they can take forward so that they can start building momentum, measuring their progress, and feel like they are accomplishing something in the realm of spirituality, which has some real positive effects for people along the way.
Right. Just like the positive effects that people of this made-up religion had. Now, what's funny or ironic, I suppose, about the philosophy that the fake guru put forward is the crux of the philosophy was, if you can see the divinity in me, then that really means you can see the divinity in you, and you don't need a guru. You can be your own guru. You don't need one at all. So there's kind of this grain of truth, the seed of truth in the quest of this documentarian to find that, give this message wrapped up in very structured, ritualistic kind of guru packaging of religion, but bring that forward. And really what, kind of bubbles up out of this is this idea that people's yearning to believe in and find connection in something bigger than themselves is often bigger than the thing itself. Just like the fake philosophy was teaching, if you can see the divinity in me, then that means there's divinity in you. And thus you don't need a guru, but you need someone to help you see that, or you need something to lead you in that direction. And so this kind of helps open it up to that life is a buffet, right? Like, well, anything on the buffet can become your spiritual guru if you're in the right frame of mind and you're willing and ready to accept.
I think this experience was well summed up by Roger Ebert. In his review of the film, he said, the film's implication seems to be, it doesn't matter if a religion's teachings are true. What matters is if you think they are. Now, this allows, like Shyla said, the opportunity to go to that buffet and maybe pick a little bit of what you want, right? Finding gurus, finding teachers of all different types that speak to you spiritually, and then following that, because at the end of the day, it's what you believe inside that dictates how you express on the outside.
So while we wouldn't recommend joining the Kumare religion, we would recommend going to the buffet of life and finding whatever spirituality and faith practice works for you.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers, and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.